You like pushing buttons, John.
Yes. You just put that out there. Hello, everybody. We are live. I was just typing that into a text message. I'm obviously not in my studio tonight. I'm kind of going old school. The original laptop that No Driving Gloves started with is handling my computing deal tonight. Even a Audio Technica AT2005 microphone. I don't even have my fancy Electro Voice RE320. Jeez. So let's hope all of this goes well. How are you two doing tonight?
Go ahead, Derek.
Go ahead. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I already. I guess I didn't say how I'm doing. I've had a. I've had
you
a
really
cold
didn't.
Yeah,
you really
I've
didn't.
had.
So I thought I'd put it out there, but I'm doing wonderful, fantastic, amazing.
Oh, see, I've had a cold for a week. I've had 2 rapid COVID tests and 1 PCR test, and so far I'm totally negative. So it's just a cold that makes it sound like I have COVID. I think Will's still working.
If
I
John's,
was doing my.
wait, whoa! If John's handsome, I mean, the rest of us have a lot going for us.
I was doing my Facebook sharing, so it's just been a pretty wild week here at the shop. You know, got a lot of new projects that started, being that we finished a Cadillac and almost have an Impala finished up. So we've got another Impala that we started this week, a Camaro, and working hard on a Model A. Got a Nomad. I mean, just a big truck. So just a lot of stuff going on and doing a little tweaks to the Trans Am that we debuted at SEMA, and just trying to get back into the swing of things. It's always a little tough after you've debuted a couple of cars and been gone for. I think I was gone for 21 days by the time I did SEMA and Pleasanton Good Guys event. So just really focusing on what we've got here in the shop and keeping the ball rolling on all of them.
I don't know how you keep it going. I can barely keep track of myself.
Yeah. I got a bunch of a bunch of good guys that are really self-motivated that come in and put their head down and work hard. And, we have a Monday morning meeting and we go over everything that we want to accomplish for the week. How about turning that ringer off?
No kidding.
Oh, no. I like it.
Didn't we used to get yelled at back in the early days of No Driving Gloves? He was like, "Who's got their phone on?"
But everybody's pretty well self-motivated. The Monday morning meetings really kind of keep everybody heading down the path they need to head down. And I'm most of the time in the shop, so it's I mean, it's not that big of a deal to me, I guess. I mean, I've been doing it for pretty well 15 years, so it's just normal day-to-day operation and try to get my hands dirty as much as I can.
So the long story short is you just have had a lot of practice.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it. So
every day is practice.
I've got a really, really, really good dude that works the office that answers the phone and most emails and does all the parts chasing and payroll and all that stuff. So that I don't even have to worry about that side of it at all. I mean, I don't worry about what much of the other guys are doing either. I mean, they're busy and they all know what they're doing. So give them their space and let them go to work.
It's always good to have a team that knows what the heck's going on.
So pretty well blessed in that situation of having a group of good guys. I know seems like every hot rod shop in the country is hiring right now. And I mean, could I put some more guys to work? Yeah, absolutely. I got enough work to put a couple more guys to work. But, if the right person walks in the door or calls or emails or something, then, we'll entertain that. But as far as currently looking for somebody to add to the team, not necessarily,
Dude, I sent my email like 3 weeks ago. I haven't heard.
Like
anything.
I said, it had to be the right fit. So, we don't do wood wheels around here. So I just don't think it's the right fit.
Oh, so you didn't like the proposal about like starting a whole new branch? Come on.
No.
Big oak garage. I mean, you got wood in the name. Come on, man.
No. Sorry. We eliminate pretty well all the wood out of the old cars. So,
I was kind of hoping he would go towards, boats, old wooden boats.
We can do wood boats. I like wood boats. They're cool.
I could probably get into wood boats, but we don't have a wood shop. If that says anything, I think all restoration shops have a wood shop.
Damn, I just sold my wood shop.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just really getting the ball back rolling on everything and trying to get everything back to normal operations. So yeah.
Oh, well, we're trying to kill a little bit of time because we had a staggered start tonight. Whether we told some people 9:00, we sold some people 9:15. But geez, we do have a ton of people watching, so maybe we should lie and start early every day.
It's only 1 minute. It's only 1 minute. We can get rolling.
So we had
we can be like, who's most famous for starting their concerts like an hour or two late? Be like one of those rock bands. It's like the concert starts at 10 and they come out at like 11:30.
Yeah. I never went and saw Guns N' Roses.
What?
Guns N' Roses was famous for that. Sometimes they didn't even start their concert. Sometimes the opening band left and Guns N' Roses left. So, I guess that was probably before you guys were probably like 8 years old at the time or something. So
yeah, I'm nowhere near as old as you, John. So
yeah, I might not even have been born.
Yeah.
Nah. You're old.
It's very distinguished.
Mm-hmm. So, well, there goes half the listeners.
Yep, I just watched them all leave.
Yeah, they're like, we're out.
So we're going to take a spin on what a suggestion was. Somebody, Jason, a regular commenter, we talked to him a lot about, he suggested something about talking about old cars and threw out some names, and before the show threw that one out, and we go, what is an old car? There's three of us here, and we've all talked about being varying ages. And Derek, obviously the eldest of us all, and especially when it comes to cars. What is an old car? What makes a car old? Is an antique car that rolling 25 years is what do I want to say? Is an old car pre-1940? Anybody want to throw out what their quick definition is? And then Will brought up something that happened just before SEMA that really made it interesting.
Yeah, I can start with that. So right before SEMA, good guys generally have been 72 and older. That's a general over the years. They do have some events that's open to anything. And I think they actually used to have some that were 64 and older. I can't really remember exactly. But they opened up their events to 25 years and older. So it's a rolling 25. So right now, my 96 Tahoe that I have as a daily driver could enter in a good guys event. And I personally think it's pretty cool. I think it opens up my clientele, because a lot of my clientele likes going to good guys events, and it may open their eyes to, want to build a 96 Tahoe and make it cool. So
I think it's great on bringing the youth into the hobby because, I go out and talk to an 18 or 19-year-old. They could care less about a 72 Monte Carlo. They don't even really know what it is, or, pick any of that stuff. They want that stuff they remember as old in their youth. I think it's a brilliant move into trying to get this next generation into cars and into the hobby. It's, you know, I've always kind of, I laughed, when the 84 Caravan became an antique car. You can put your antique plates on a Caravan. Me and my obsession with vans, I know. But or even Escorts and things like that, which were common everyday things. It's just, I don't know. What do you think, Derek? Did they feel that way when the Model T turned 25 years old and they could start putting antique plates on it?
Yeah, there you go. It almost made an entire run being 25 years old. No, I mean, if you take the classic definition of it, which is what what that 25-year mark is, that's in most states, that's the definition of a antique plateable car or a collector car or classic car. I guess my thought on it always has been, who the flip cares? Like, why do we have to define what an old car is? Wait, I don't, other than for some government plating, situation in each state. If we're in the car hobby and we're all interested in cars, what does it matter what an old car versus just a car is? I guess that's one thing that's always bothered me. I've never understood this. We have to define, in general. I get it when you're in a club, like the Classic Car Club of America. They have very strict rules on what they define as a full classic. But what does it matter why we designate what a old car is?
Okay, Derek, you just ruined the whole conversation.
Well, obviously,
no, I'm opening it up. I want to know, like, seriously, like,
I mean, technically, an old car can be a 5-year-old car,
right?
I mean, a 5-year-old car in, a place that has low humidity and no salt on the roads still looks pretty good. You go up north to Michigan, Detroit area, a 5-year-old car can be a rusty turd of a car. So that's an old car. So, I mean, it's just a terminology that, and y'all know how I am about terminologies, and of course, we get the guy that mentions the stuff we're not going to talk about tonight in the comments.
Yeah, that's popped up twice. So we're just ignoring that.
Yeah, we're ignoring it. So, I mean, to me, what's an old car? An old car can be a really, really nice 72 Chevrolet truck that's unrestored. And it can also be, a 5-year-old Ford. I can't say really Ford now because they're aluminum, but a Dodge that the bed's rusting off of. So it all depends on your terminology. To me,
so wait, are you saying it has to be rusty to be old?
Well, that's just, you see a rusty old car. It's just kind of the thing. You don't say that's a rusty new car, do you? It's a rusty old car.
Depends on what brand of car it is.
I sit there all the time.
Did it come out of Big Oak Garage? I
sit there all the time and I go, an old car to me is something that I remember that would be something when I was 1 or 2 years old. So early 70s, that's an old car to me. And I sit here today and I always do these addition and subtraction things. I got my first car when I was in 87 and it was an 80. That was 7 years old. And that was really an old car to me. But, somebody in high school, they had a 64 and a half Mustang. So that was a 23-year-old car. And do you realize having a 23-year-old Mustang now is a 1998 Mustang? And to me, that's a new car. I remember my mom getting her Mustang when it was in 94, brand new. And I just have a tough time thinking cars that I saw new, that I sold new, are actually old cars now. It's one of these things, I guess. Maybe it's part of getting old.
Well, and maybe
There
that's
you go.
maybe
It's part of
that's
getting old.
yeah, maybe that's
Like the
what
cars
defines an
when
old
we,
car.
the cars that were new when we were young are now old. Like us, we're
Yeah.
old. Oh, I mean, I
But
think
maybe that's what defines it is its personal perspective of what an old car is. You know,
Randy made a good.
a kid that's 19 right now, you know, I mean, yeah, they think an old car is something from the early 2000s, which is scary.
Randy
What
made a
Randy
good
say?
point. You know, antique cars to me is a car without a computer, and that, you know, that's a good way to look at it too. That could be a good cutoff.
Yeah. I mean, it does make them technically antiquated to the modern car world.
So
Yeah, but when did computers? I mean, the most basic computers. When did they actually start entering cars?
Wow. I guess that depends on what you would define as a computer.
most people define a computer as an engine management type of deal. So like an 87 Chevrolet truck, you could get fuel injection in. That was an electronic fuel injection. Now, obviously, fuel injection's been around for a long, long time. You had mechanical
Right.
fuel injection,
Mechanical.
or you had electronic fuel injection.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there was a little module under the dash. You could call it a computer. You could call it a module. But you know, really, you know, I would say it's the late '80s, early '90s
Yeah.
So you're
in
discounting.
American cars. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, the cars that come from overseas have had multi-port fuel injection and ECMs and all that stuff way before, you know, General Motors did. So
Where am I thinking on this one is so we're discounting. I can't even remember the name, like a voltage regulator or something like that always went wrong on your 78 Ford. You always carried a spare one. You know, it's circuitry. It's kind of computerized. I mean,
Right.
it's maybe not running a program, but it's using electronics to manage something.
Yeah.
So we're going to something that's actually using a few zeros and ones to click and create, I guess, cause and effect. Maybe that's a simple way of saying it.
But there were, I mean, I guess what, yeah, it's an interesting topic because in the early and mid 70s, some GM products had the sensor, the weight sensor in the seat, and a sensor to the seat belt buckle that if there was weight detected in the seat and the buckle wasn't buckled, the car wouldn't start. Is that a computer? Because it's controlling although it's all just done on switches and, you know, basically solenoids and things.
that's
Is
not a
that
computer.
is that a computer or not?
No, you can control all that stuff with relays. So, you know, a relay, do you consider a relay a little mini computer? I mean, technically, it depends on your terminology of a computer.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I
Yeah,
mean-
because like the sensors are detecting something, which is saying to a relay to not do something. You know what I mean? So it's essentially a brain communicating something.
Well,
Is that
I mean,
what?
it's a
Yeah.
sensor. It's a sensor. So, I mean, it's no different than an oil pressure sensor or a water temp sensor. I mean, or a speed sensor or anything like that. It's just a sensor that sends, you know,
A signal.
a signal to the ignition switch to start, or the gauge to give you your reading. I do not consider that any form of a computer just because it's an electronic sensor.
Okay.
I'm
Well, this
chuckling.
is good. We're defining things here. We're getting clear definitions.
As Randy said, car philosophy.
Had I
And
known we were going to get this deep into it, I would have poured that glass of scotch. Seeing John has a cigar.
Yeah. Well, I get to do that because I'm actually at the cigar shop. So I am not in my home studio. And I actually have a whole bar at the other end here with all kinds of scotch and whiskeys and
So we're going to do the podcast from there next week.
probably not. I like being in my home studio. I like
I was
being
going
good.
to join you.
You be in the home studio. Will and I'll be at the cigar shop.
There you go.
And Truth Myers, yeah, I despise the start stop on my car.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
Turn it off.
almost caused accidents. So,
Yeah, turn it
So we're
off.
basically defining we'll go back and define the computer era. Let's call it post 1980. Is that what we're saying? Is that kind of, I mean, they were really starting to make their way in the 1970s, late 70s into the early 80s.
I would go a little bit later and say,
Yeah, I would too.
I-
Mid
I
80s.
would- I'm going to say OBD 1 and beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would agree with that, John. I disagree with you, Derek.
When did OBD1 start, though?
Good question.
Anybody remember? Because I'm
Early
just thinking, what about like the digital dashes that were all in the, like, obviously the 84 Corvette came out. What year was it? The Buick had the digital dash that was also somewhat touchscreen capable.
It was introduced in 1991,
Okay.
according to Google.
Yeah.
Well,
But what about like the
your late
digital
80s with
dash
your
readouts? Like I said, the Buick that had the somewhat touch screen capable.
You can do a digital dash readout without really a computer.
Yeah, see,
I mean, it's a
right.
gauge and a sensor.
I'm thinking the 83, 84 Chryslers with the digital dashes that talk to you and that. And those are, I guess there's another parameter you could put. Those are still repairable, with, maybe modifying the circuit boards or replacing relays or replacing diodes. Where once you start getting into, your OBD computers, you're kind of, you open the thing up and where do you go? And that's where the next generation of restoration comes into, where you're going to end up going back. And, I think Holley's moving that direction on a lot of them, where you're going to start pulling these computers out and putting new management systems in that,
oh yeah,
can operate.
I'm pretty sure Lingenfelter's already gone that way.
You almost have to, if you want to tune, you can't really tune with the OBD1. OBD2 you can. You got HP tuners and everybody else and all these, companies that make things that plug in and whatever. But OBD1, it was pretty challenging. If you want to tune your stuff, you pull all that stuff off and go with a Holley HP or Dominator or whatever, and it'll control it a whole lot better. You can pretty well run anything you want to run off of a Dominator or an HP.
I just want to point out that Dan just backed me up by informing us that his 84 Monte Carlo had an ECM in it.
We said mid 80s.
That's
84 would be mid.
Then you started changing it to 91.
No, 91 was the first year of OBD1. So there you go.
Uh-huh.
So we'll go with Will's.
Let's replay that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with Will's definition.
The OBD stuff really just started coming around for engine diagnostics for dealerships and stuff like that. That you just plug your computer into it. It tells you what's wrong with it, and you replace a part, and it don't fix it. That's what OBD1 did.
Yep.
OBD2 was pretty good about it, but
no, OBD2 still sucks, especially when the person using it doesn't have any diagnostic skills.
Well, if the person using it doesn't know, then yeah, it's totally useless. But somebody that really knows what they're doing can really diagnose a car with the right equipment. That's an OBD2 plug-in.
So you're saying that 1995 scanner that I bought on Overnight TV or maybe QVC, and I plug in and it tells me this part's wrong, and I go to AutoZone and I buy the part, that's not going to fix my car.
Most of the time, no.
Yeah, that's the tech. It's the tech that knows why that part is failing because this part failed, that part failed.
Right.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Right.
otherwise it does become that endless changing of parts, and you wonder why AutoZone will gladly do a code read to your car because they're going to sell you a part, and then you're going to come back and they're going to sell you another one, and they're going to sell you another one.
It would be interesting to know if any of these schools that teach mechanics and whether it's a trade school in a high school or a higher education actually teaches OBD1 stuff. I seriously doubt it, but that would be interesting to know if anybody out there is actually still teaching regular, hell, a mechanic class with a carburetor. I mean, I'm sure that's probably non-existent, but it would be interesting to see if OBD1 stuff was still out there and being taught. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
I took a modern automotive class in 95, 96, yes, 95, 96, 97, just prior to coming to McPherson. And we were the last class they were going to teach carburetors to. So that ended in the mid 90s.
Right.
And to be honest, carburetors ended in the mid 90s. I think the 94 Isuzu Pup was the last car sold with a carburetor on it, or the 95 Isuzu Pup. But if you go into a dealership now with anything more than 10 years old, they don't even want to work on it. So
No.
it takes a very special mechanic that can work on that stuff that, likes the older stuff. And that's where the independent shops are. But, even they're going away because people don't own cars that old anymore. It's, I think to answer your question, Will, no, they don't teach carburetors anymore. You got to go to a place like McPherson that's teaching restoration.
Mm-hmm.
And
how does that make you feel, John?
What?
Old. I seriously, I would be interested to know if anybody like Will said. I mean, when I was number one, my high school didn't really have anything of the sort. So, I was learning everything from my dad and all his friends on how to work on cars. But even when I went to college, I mean, none of the automotive classes I took had anything. I do remember using OBD2 readers. This would have been 2003, 2004, 5, right in that era. So OBD2s, nothing about OBD1, but of course I was also taking restoration coursework. So yeah, we did do the carburetor thing. We did all the antique engine technologies. And then I also had a small engines class, or actually it was a powertrain class really, but it focused mostly on small engines. And of course you worked on the little carburetors for that and tore those down and stuff. But even in my experience in the, let's say, early 2000s, I think everyone had forgotten about OBD1.
Well,
yeah, it's not like it was around that long anyway.
I would say it's was short-lived. What was it, 91 to 95 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
It's amazed me that OBD2 has kind of lasted as long as it has.
Yeah, made before 96. So, 91 to 95. My Tahoe is a 96 and it's OBD2. But it's real early OBD2 and it's better than OBD1, but it's still pretty slim.
I think the one time I actually vaguely remember Dad having an OBD1 reader and stuff at home was when we redid my 93 Beretta and got it all running. Because it was totaled when we got it, so we had to rebuild the whole front end. And I vaguely have a recollection of plugging that in.
And it wasn't a small computer either. It was larger, was it not?
From what I recall, this was a long time ago.
Well, the 93 Beretta is an old car.
It
Remember
is.
the-
It is. I would love to have one again.
Remember the ones that you'd plug in and they had the like 4 or 5 little LED lights in them, and it would, it would blink, and you'd have to go look up the blink numbers and get the code. And
Yes.
oh my god!
Yep.
Oh, I
Oh.
remember. I remember doing that with the CRX, where you'd plug the thing in and then it flashes the lights on the dashboard. Or if you wanted to get deeper, there was a series of lights on the ECU, and
Yep.
And you're never sure, is that a test light? Is that the last light? Are we done yet? Are we? Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I lost count and which blink it was. Oh, man. Start over.
So have we determined the old car thing? What is an old car?
I mean, I'm down with. I agree with if it doesn't have an ECM, yeah, you can call it an old car, But there's never going to be a defined line of an old car.
No, I like it. Just kind of depends on your generation. An old car is, I think, to each person different, and probably goes back to between 0 and 5 for that person's life. That's anything beyond that is an old car to me. Anything beyond that to you guys is an old car to you. So, I'm thinking, 71 to 74 or so for me. And for you guys, you're probably looking what? 80 to 84, 80 to 85. I can't remember when you guys were born.
Roughly, yeah.
So.
It's been cool to see how
Yeah.
NSRA and good guys have really just kind of opened up. I dig it. NSRA, National Street Rod Association, was 48 and older forever. And that's what defined a street rod, was 1948 and older. And it's still kind of that terminology of street rods, 48 and older. And now they have a rolling 30 and good guys has a rolling 25. So I agree with that. I like them opening up. It allows, more people to come with either their daily drivers or just a car that they built that they think's cool. That's just not 72 and older. So I'm very okay with it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really good. It helps bring the youth into it. And like you said, it could be a daily driver, but it also kind of leans to my definition of an old car. Is the people that are starting to get into that and starting to have the money are going to be 25, 30 years old and beyond. So when you roll back 25 years, guess what? You're right there at that 0 to 5 year old car range. So I think it works well.
Well, and I think it does hold some weight too, because we've talked about it on the podcast before. A lot of times that first old car that you're looking to buy is that one that was the poster on your bedroom wall when you were a kid. Or that is at least the car you're aiming, the old car you're kind of aiming to have one day in your career, is that, poster that you remember as a kid. Which again, goes right back to what you said, John, 0 to 5. And, you start having the money to buy cars, 25 to 30 years old. There we go. So yeah, I mean, I think that holds weight.
I don't think kids put posters of cars on their walls anymore. I think they just play them on video.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we did, but I said nowadays. Are you still a kid?
At heart.
I'm 2.
I still put posters of cars on walls.
Right?
Actually, I'm thinking, I just did that at my new apartment. I have pictures of cars up.
Yeah,
And
I mean, that's
crazy. They're 1916 Packard, but so.
Hey, how did you get the poster I had as a kid on my wall?
he stole it from you.
Somehow I stumbled across a collection of 6 photographs of 1916 Packard Cloverleaf Roadster, which they only made 3 of, and I restored one of the 3. And somehow, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, I stumbled across these. So they're actually hanging in my studio at the house. So maybe one day we'll see those.
I don't think I have any car posters at my house. I may in the basement. I can't remember.
I have that one. I have one that Amanda gave me, and I still don't know. There's supposed to be a special meaning, and I've never figured out the special meaning. And it's kind of a front end of a Bentley with a license plate. And then I have my.
What does the license plate say?
Yeah, what did so say? What does the license plate say?
I can't remember. It's just some random European plate.
See, there's something hidden. There's something hidden there. You can't figure it out.
And then I have the John Dahlstrom Lotus advertisements that he did in the 60s for Lotus. There are 8 of them, and they're all mounted and matted and framed. So
what do you guys consider like a poster versus a because I'm thinking like just in the room I'm in right now, like I've got a really nice framed and matted print of old 16's engine, that a professional photographer did in our digitization project at the Henry Ford. Yeah, most of what I have, I wouldn't classify as posters. I'd classify them more as like prints,
art.
Yeah, I think
more like
what I
photography,
have now is
high-end
more
photography,
art.
And yeah.
I think posters are either in the cheap frames from Michaels, with the real thin plastic and that, or just stapled to your wall. The 6 foot long Lamborghini Countach poster I used to have in my room, and my Vector W2 poster that was the same size on the opposite wall. That's a poster.
Yeah. Posters is what you buy your kid to put on the wall because
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you go into the show Seinfeld, he has a poster framed hanging on his wall of a 911 that's kind of airborne, and I can't remember what the caption is. And I know it's a poster because I actually have the posters. I gave them away at like the 1988 Chicago Auto Show. But does that become art when you properly mat it and frame it? I don't know.
That's probably art now because of the age of it.
Because it's old.
Yeah, it's like all those.
Old.
It's all those posters.
This
all the posters Leno's got hanging up in his garage.
What is old?
What is old and who's owned it?
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I do have some posters that are probably going to wind up going up out in the barn, like the various posters from car shows or, some of the concours, like Pebble Beach or Amelia Island, stuff like that. But as for like your typical like cheesy, I'm thinking like late 80s, early 90s car posters. Like, I don't think I have any of those anymore, but I could be wrong. I've got tubes of car stuff upstairs, just
I was thinking that.
And prints just rolled up, and
I've got this like 3x3 basket in my warehouse just full of tubes of various car posters and things, and some of them I need to get rid of because I know the Molise people and the Radwood people would kill for some of the stuff I have. But
I mean, right here next to my desk, here's one.
What is it?
It's a great question. I have no idea.
Open it up.
That's well, no, it's late enough at night. That's what she said.
It may be Christie Canyon, huh?
I was going to say you might want to look at it before you open it.
Whoever gets
we need showgirl music.
Wait. We got to do something. Whoever guesses it right gets what do they get, John?
I don't know. I'll always send out a sticker.
There you go. You get a sticker and
a sticker.
Unless you wear a size medium T-shirt. I do have a No Driving Glove size medium T-shirt.
I think I've got some extra large.
Isn't that mine?
So if you get it right, you get a extra large Big Oak Garage T-shirt. Y'all better start guessing right now. You got 30 seconds. Wait.
I've got multiple. I mean, do you want me to count how many I have here and people can take wild guesses?
Just the first right guess.
Just the very first one.
Of any of the posters?
Yeah, you're going to show them, and whichever one gets guessed.
Well, the problem is I'm going to have to find a way. I guess I can figure out how to cover the. That's too easy. Yeah, that's probably too. These are 3 pretty easy ones. So we'll go with the more challenging of the 3.
It's a Corvette.
Yeah, right.
A Roadster.
Tell me when it's. I can't really see the camera.
No,
here.
go a little closer. Yeah, there you go. That's good. That's cool. All right, we're good. Well, we'd rather look at that than you, so just leave it there.
Exactly right. That should just be my. So anyway, it's a series of 3 basically antique race cars. Don't ask me where they came from or how I got them, because I have no recollection.
They're just beside your desk.
Yeah, exactly. Things just show up.
I found a lot of that stuff when I was moving.
I guess this could be considered a poster.
Ah, yes. Well, I'd call that a display board.
It's more of a board, but
It's a display board, yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
a poster thing.
Seeing we have one listener right now, let's see if she's a car girl. There's another one. Okay. I'm saving the easiest one for last, so. All right. Now the easy one that even John can get. Because if John and Will don't know what this is, I don't even know what we're going to do.
Is that the car you're going to build?
Oh, come on. The wheels give it away, guys.
Oh, I know what it is.
Yeah, okay. I figured as much.
It should be blue.
Correct? No, actually, I think this one.
They're typically blue.
They're typically, but I think the specific one this was actually black.
Well, I was saying typically blue, so you knew I knew what it was without giving it away.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Typically a very bright blue. I don't know. I got stuff everywhere. So nobody want a T-shirt.
Nope. Well,
of course, I don't think we have any listeners anymore.
Oh, we have a bunch of listeners. We're probably we're record number of listeners again. We're doing pretty well. But you got till the end of the show to figure it out. Once we cease the live show, the contest is over. Because I'm not going to keep checking Facebook comments.
Sorry, looking at another thing I got. Anyway,
I was looking at your Christmas tree in the back.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that.
Christmas trees are nice.
Yes, very festive, very holiday-like, if you will.
So, being an old car, if it came with an ECM, means it's not an old car. What if you put a bunch of ECMs in an old car? Does that make it not an old car?
It makes it.
I think we've had that conversation. A resto mod. Yeah.
Yeah.
You walked right into it, Will.
I'm not saying a word. I think everybody here pretty well knows how I feel about that. So if you don't, go back and listen to whatever episode that was.
Exactly.
I can't look it up. I'm not at my computer.
You know what it is, Will? You know what that makes it? Ruined. That's what it makes it. Ruined.
Yeah, where you can actually get out and enjoy it, and drive it cross country, and not take you 4 freaking weeks. Yeah, that's ruined. and the air
The point of it is
Hey.
driving a car is driving it. Why do you want to get there fast? The point is
Hey,
to enjoy the drive. see
driving
the
your car
countryside.
fast is fun.
I'm going to break the rule, but Will made me do it. All three of us know a guy that just about drove his old car just as fast across the country as a Tesla.
True.
Yep.
True.
One breakdown and he would have beat it. So,
Uh-huh. Exactly. So take that, Will.
I'm sorry to bring up the way I said the T word.
But here's the root of all evil with ECMs and computerized vehicles with computers. You know what those computers run on? We said we weren't going to talk about it, so I'm just not going to answer it.
That's why I didn't say no.
Yeah.
They run on atoms and pieces of the atom moving across from atom to atom.
So, John, I think we may want to shut down the spammer that's in our comments.
Yeah, I think we might be getting hacked.
Yeah, I got to figure out. I can't remember how to do this.
It's not showing up on here. I could delete it, but I don't know. I can't delete it from my computer, and it's not showing up on my phone. So I don't know.
It's all blocked.
There we go. We blocked them.
All right.
All right.
It probably cost us a viewer, though.
Well, you know what? It's not what we're about, and we blocked it as quickly as we could. So
that is as far as what we could be about as anything.
matter of fact, if you remember the scene from Blues Brothers, we're the Blues Brothers. Okay.
Oh, Lord. You
Trying to
think
figure out
that
which one of
traffic
us is
cleared
Dan
up, John?
Aykroyd.
Oh, the traffic cleared up, ironically, about 10 minutes after I said, I'm not going to make everybody leave, blah, 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 blah. I could have actually made it home in plenty of time, but by then I wasn't going to be a arse and make everybody leave. They were all having a good time. So we all hung out here. I think everybody's left now. So as soon as we wrap
You're just
up,
having a party at the cigar shop? I mean, we didn't even get an invite.
We always do. Lounge is open. Get yourself a drink, get yourself a cigar, hang out in the back. What do you think I do? This isn't a job. This is fun.
Oh, yeah.
I don't do
Well, the problem is I live like 4.5 hours away.
So have a cigar on the way down.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Get you a pandemonium that's about 10 inches long, 60 ring gauge, about an inch in diameter. You probably one cigar down here, one cigar back, and then one cigar while you're here.
Yeah, I think you and I had this conversation, John. I used to smoke cigars, and I got a bad one night, and I've never smoked another one after that.
Well,
actually, I shouldn't say that. I tried, and it made me sick again.
We'll set you up with a good one. I tried a new cigar cutter today. I know this isn't cars. And it actually is 5 razor blades and puts 5 razor slits in the cigar. It doesn't cut the end off of it.
Oh, yeah.
And man, does it change the taste of a cigar. It's very, very intense because when you're inhaling, well, technically not inhaling, but
not inhaling,
taking the smoke into your mouth, it's coming through these little paper thin slits. So it's very intense and
more rich.
It's quickly becoming my favorite cut. I just don't want to pay $45 for that cutter.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't have.
Actually cigars do have a tie to automotive history, specifically Ford Motor Company.
And go ahead and give us that bit of trivia. Well, Lee Iacocca was famous for always having his cigar.
No. Back it up. Back into the late 30s, early 40s.
I'm at a loss there.
Henry Ford finally put a lighter in the dash of the Ford vehicles, the Ford Motor Company, but they would not, because Henry Ford did not believe in smoking cigarettes. They would not call it a cigarette lighter. So it was simply known as a cigar lighter.
Now it's known as a cell phone charger.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
Now
right.
it's
a
an
USB
accessory
port.
$14.95. They'll give you an ashtray that takes away one of your cup holders, and
Exactly.
We used to always put, lighters in cars everywhere so you could charge stuff. Now it's just USBs. I can't tell you. We actually took in Don and Brenda's Waters Cadillac, we actually took the cigarette lighter out, and that's where the headlight switch is now, because the headlight switch used to be kind of like in the middle of the gauges. It was kind of weird looking.
Mm-hmm.
So now you flip up the ashtray where you can see the ashtrays, and where the cigarette lighter was is now the headlight switch.
Yeah,
So
I'm thinking of my grandparents. It might have been their Country Squire station wagon or something. Cigarette lighter in the dashboard. Every door had an ashtray in it and its own cigarette lighter. There was probably 8 cigarette lighters in the whole car. The things that we used to have. The Cadillac Eldorado. I think it was the Eldorado that had the bar in the glove box, to the perfume things in the back seat, to the good old things.
I came across an old ad the other day from I think it might have been like 24 or something like that, which was advertising a aftermarket kit you could buy that would put a keg behind the dash of your automobile. Had a tap that came right out. You drill a hole through your dash,
Perfect.
Had a tap that came out, hung the keg up under.
I'm going to answer.
They didn't care back then.
I'm going to answer Dan's question right quick.
You don't have to. We don't have to. It's okay. I'm his boss, so I can tell you that you don't have to.
You going to take that from him, Dan? We're going to have the Cadillac will be indoors. The 76 Trans Am will be in Bryce Thomas Radiator booth. Cadillac will be in Exalta booth, and the Impala that we will be debuting here at the end of January will be in Builders Showcase. So that's the 3 that I know we will have in Louisville at the NSRA Nationals, and maybe another one. I'm not sure. He overlooks you.
He might get overlooked at the Christmas party this year. Anyway, I'm not bringing anything to NSRA next year.
You're not even going to bring yourself. We know this.
Probably not. Yeah. I might run into you there.
No, I'll run from you. I don't want to be associated with you in public.
Where is that?
Louisville, Kentucky.
That's a long way away.
It is. That's why I'm not going. Too long of a drive.
It's not that far. It's like one of the closest shows we do.
I know where Louisville is.
And it's too far for me, Will. It might be close for you, but that's a long drive for me. So
I'm just going to grab you and throw you in the trailer on the way up there.
All right. I grew up on a farm. I'm used to riding in the trailers.
We're gonna have lunch at the new Corvette Cafe, whatever it's called.
Stingray Grill.
Stingray Grill.
Get one of the Stingray burgers. Wagyu beef.
We'll mosey on up to Louisville. However you want to say it. Louisville.
So in the north, we say it Louisville.
Yeah.
Like the Louisville Slugger.
Yep.
But when you move to Kentucky, you better learn to say it with an entire handful of rocks in your mouth, because down here it said Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why isn't it called Louisville?
I have no idea.
Hmm.
Because he didn't go by Lewis, he went by Louis. I don't know.
Well, in Arkansas, it's Arkansas, but the Arkansas River in Kansas is the Arkansas River.
Yeah, people don't believe you when you tell them that.
No, they don't.
I just think everybody in Arkansas mispronounces their state name, and it is Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just it's weird. Like here in Kentucky, there's a Versailles, Kentucky. It's spelled identical to Versailles, France.
Yeah, Versailles.
Yeah,
But we're
So-
not French. We speak English. So.
it's all about how you pronounce it, I guess. Phil was supposed to come visit the museum today, but he was feeling a bit under the weather, so he didn't make it. If that's the confused look you were looking at, John.
No, I was reading. Remember, I don't have my glasses on, and I have a small screen in front of me.
Ah, gotcha.
Don't
So,
forget what opens up tomorrow. The Savoy. Isn't it
I
tomorrow their opening day?
to
thought
the
it was
open to the public, yeah. Yep. The last week has been by special appointment for previews.
There you go.
Yep.
So
And
if
Will,
you-
unfortunately, I just haven't had the time to make it.
no worries. Have I hounded you about it?
No, sir.
There you go.
All right.
Well, we're about at an hour, so I'm going to say I want to wind this up and head home for a change.
Sounds good to me. I got a couple hours worth of work to do.
I'm going to go out here and run my 1919 South Bend lathe for a few more hours.
Sweet. I think I'm getting a lathe or picking up a new lathe over Christmas. Not a new one, a new old one.
1919? That old?
Pre-computer.
I don't know how old. Oh, it's pre-computer. Let me tell you. I don't know what year it is. I'll have to ask. It's from our buddy that drove his Model T as fast as a Tesla.
Got you. All right. Adios.
All right.
Talk to everybody later. Let me find the right button to push here, and we will see
Thanks
you.
to everybody
see
for
you-
listening.
See you next week. Somewhere here. Here we go. And bye-bye.